can't hunch, and then they find us. We're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers. We aim for the skies, into the octagon like a warrior I stand. Train blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
What up, boys?
And we are live.
Right here tonight.
Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your
First one of
hosts,
October.
Matt and D Rose.
And what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt D. Rose. Is right over there on that side of the screen. We appreciate you for stopping by, hanging out with us right over here on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast right here tonight. We are on number 177, D. Rose. What a journey we've been on, man. What a journey we've been on. With that being said, what will you have to look forward to? Today is me and D. Rose's UFC Perth recap. Me and D. Rose will be recapping Dana White Contender Series from the last night. One of us got to be beans this week, D. Rose. And guess what? Another week added to the streak. And it ain't me. It's you, D. Rose. You are eating the beans this week. We got some UFC news and fight announcements to go over. And then we will, well, that's not what we're doing. We'll close it out with our UFC 320 Ankalaev versus Pereira to preview and predict. Here, let me get the banner updated because I had the one from Perth still up there. So just so I can feel good about myself doing it right here live. How about them apples? UFC 320 Ankalaev versus Pereira 2 predictions, preview, and picks. Me and D Rose will give you all that. And then at the end of the show, we'll give you the classic 0-1 at this moment. D Rose's dog of the week.
We was close. Hey, we was close. Charlie Campbell dropped him in the first round, and everybody that saw D Rose dog of the week, they was like, "Hey, he's on to something." But unfortunately, fizzled out.
Indeed. With that said, D Rose, before we jump into the chat, how have you been over the past week, my guy?
Yeah, things have been great this way. Everything's been good. Car sales is the best and worst roller coaster in the world. You just got to ride along and see however it's going to take you, wherever it's going to take you, but other than that, no, everything's good. Family health is good and everything. Didn't do too much. I won a little bit in UFC over this past weekend in some bets. So I think I sent you my best slip on that, and I had Jake Matthews and just hung on in the third round, and we'll talk about that fight. But I could have won a little bit more on some fights from this past weekend, but nonetheless, didn't do too bad in betting this weekend. I've been doing pretty good in football. I've sent you a couple of my bets here lately, but I've been on. So my account's been I've been able to keep my account loaded to where I'm not playing with my own money, and I've been able to enjoy that.
That's good, man. That's good. I guess real quick before we get started with the show, I guess I'm driving there Saturday morning, man. So I guess if you're going to watch the pay-per-view, then I guess we can live stream it at your house, man. I'm just going to drive there, and then we'll live stream the pay-per-view together for one last time, because I have 14 days left here, D-Rose.
Damn.
14 days, and I'm out of here, moving across the country. So, yeah, that'll be one of the last times. Next week will be the last podcast here in this house, because the following week I have to be out, man. So, the next one will be in a hotel room, or maybe there. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out, because I'm going to be stopping through there as I leave. So, kind of wild, man. But with that being said, let's get into the chat. We got Austin here with the Hola Amigos. What's going on, Austin? We got Antoine in here. Yo, what's up, boys? Hope y'all are blessed. Yeah, having a good day. Ready to leave here. Ready to leave, though, Antoine. Let me tell you. How's work, Matt? And how was your day off, D-Rose? Work? I'm just waiting on a reason for him to give me. Just waiting on a reason to be like, you know what? I quit. So, very, very easy right now, Antoine. I'm going to be honest. Also, what's the reaction to NFL Week 4, D-Rose? NFL OT is so stupid. And that's how I felt, because I messaged you like the other night, like, all right, cool. Like, tied it up, going in double overtime. And I'm just waiting there, and I see like on the screen final/OT. I'm like, it's not over, is it? Yep, it was over. No, it was over. So, D-Rose, you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
When did they change that? Because you couldn't use the tie. Like it'll just go to like 3 overtimes. 4 overtimes.
Yeah, they changed it a bit ago in the regular season. That there was one point where it would go in, I think it would go into double overtime, and at the end of double overtime, if there wasn't a winner, you'd get a tie.
Yeah, because like I remember like a few years ago the Panthers tied, but that was like the last time that I had seen it.
You see it every 4 or 5 years, roughly. Like, it's not like super common, but a lot of it was due to like no double OT in the regular season, at least. Just due to time restrictions, man, with all these TV contracts and stuff, and they got to get off TV at a certain time and everything, and making sure viewership is still there. At the end of the game, they want to make sure that they can kind of get out of there in an efficient time. So they kind of really restrain down that time and overtime. But of course, in the postseason, it would keep going. And for Dallas to finish that way, of course, it was annoying, but hey, you didn't lose to Green Bay, so I was waiting for a loss. Let's just be honest. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm always expecting the worst, and it didn't happen. So it could have been worse.
That's good. Yeah, that's how I feel, Antoine, as well. And Antoine, how do you feel about Dak specifically, D-Rose? D-Rose going to be a bean at this point. D-Rose going to turn into a bean.
That's what it feels like, dude. But no, Dak is cooking right now, man. I mean, I don't know if anybody's really paying attention to stats and stuff like that, but like total QBR, like he's in first place by like a landslide. I think it's like total QBR under pressure. It was one of the stats that it was, but yeah, he's cooking right now. They have the number 1 offense in the league, and they have the number 32nd defense in the league. So this goes to show what he's working with, but he's doing all he can to keep him in these games.
Yeah, man. I'm glad D-Rose is happy about his team right now, because it's been sad. I mean, I'm sure give it a few weeks, he'll be back to it.
Oh, but, no, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not happy. I'm happy with the way Dak has been playing. I'm not happy with the team. Believe me, yeah, it's flaming hot garbage right now. I mean, it's Dak literally just trying to Dak sees George Pickens just trying to carry him.
I saw where that fucking Tyreek Hill is only going to be out like 2 weeks. I'm like, did you see his leg like hanging there? How is he only going to miss 2 games?
I thought I saw a thing where they said they thought it was ligaments torn, unless they came back and said that there was no ligament damage. But yeah, I thought I saw some ligament damage, and if that's the case, I mean, it might have been maybe not worst case scenario, but yeah, that would be crazy to see him turn around that quick. I mean, we were expecting his career to be done. Some people thought the other day.
Right, dude. That looked pretty nasty. But it might have been like the Jamal Hill arm when he lost to Paul Craig, where he just kind of popped it back in, and then he was good to go a few weeks later. That was gross.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. D-Rose going, hey, Dave. Like, you guys have a fantastic running back. I'll just leave it like that. You guys have a good running back.
That is your boy. Scatterboot is your
Dude.
boy. Like,
Because
that's
like
your
I
guy.
saw him in college and I was like, he's gonna be a problem in the NFL. And I just saw it, dude. And you just see him out there like balling into people. Oh my goodness. Eating all the crayons. There you go. Getting dirty on turf somehow. It don't even make no sense. All right, yeah. Let's get in the show. Me and D-Rose. Do you want to recap Perth or contender series first, D-Rose?
Let's go ahead and knock Perth out the way.
All right. So this past weekend, UFC Perth main event was Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. I'm not sure if I picked KO round 1 or round 2, but I know it was early there, D-Rose, and man, just for all the Dominic Reyes, praisers saying he's back. You guys got a reality check this past weekend. Your chin don't get better over time, man. If you got a bad chin and you're fighting bums, maybe you can beat the bums. But once you step up again against anyone with power, you're going to get knocked out. And that's what happened this past weekend. Thoughts on the main event, man?
Yeah. I mean, just honestly, just as simple as that. I mean, as soon as the main event started, it was probably about like a minute in, and once Reyes kind of wasn't really throwing too much because you could tell he was having trouble finding the range. I was like, man, this might be rough if Carlos Ulberg gets a little bit aggressive, because if he gets a little bit aggressive, we know the power that Ulberg has, and his difference up at those weight classes is Carlos Ulberg's speed. Just makes it like he has power, but his speed, especially for him, he's still what, 34. He's not even that much younger than Alex Pereira and Dominic Reyes and all these guys, but he's still maintained that
34,
hand speed, man. Yeah, so yeah, he's 34 years old, and his hand speed does not look like it at all. It kind of reminds me of Michael Johnson to a certain extent, kind of like being able to just fire those hands off as quickly as he can. And Reyes just had a problem with closing the distance, and it was only a matter of time before Ulberg landed that big shot. I was kind of thinking that Reyes kept saying that he was going to maybe throw some new wrinkles in. So I was thinking he might have actually tried to have done some wrestling, maybe try to do something like that. Because if you were going to go in there and just get into a kickboxing match with Carlos Ulberg, yeah, it's going to be a tough fight for you to win. So I was anticipating Reyes maybe mixing in some wrestling, but never really had a chance to. Ulberg put him out, and it was a hell of a knockout. And I think Ulberg, maybe regardless of the winner this weekend, might be up next for the title shot.
Yeah, maybe, man. I agree. Moving on down to co-main event, Jimmy Crute over Ivan Arslan. Dude, I'm pretty sure I saw John Cena hit that move back in the WWE, like way back in the day. Dude, what was like the STFU? Like hit him with the just under the chin, like, come on, give up. And then Arslan's like, So Jimmy Crute wins, round 1 sub, big brother over Ivan Arslan. What's your thoughts on that one, man?
That's the Steiner recliner. Yeah, that's Scott Steiner. That's that Steiner recliner. You crank that neck up real, right up underneath that chin. You just pull. Yeah, that was nasty, man. Yeah, Jimmy Crute, he is. I told you, and I know you said calm down as Ivan Arslan, but I said Jimmy Crute is back, and the only reason why I said he's back is just because his confidence is there, and you can see it just because, in his fights, even going back to like against Alonzo Menifield, like. He was so timid, and even with his fight against Adolfo Bellato, like he would just have like mind lapses in certain parts of that fight where you're just like, dude, like you can see that he has talent, but it's just, is he actually feeling himself to go in there for the fight and get it done? And over his last couple fights, you can see that his confidence is starting to get back, and he's going in there and getting brutal finishes, like brutal subs. and making it look pretty easy in the process. So his confidence is building up, and I like where Jimmy Cruz is heading, man. And that was a hell of a submission. And honestly, I mean, for me, maybe submission of the year right now. I mean, there's some comic relief to it. There's some uniqueness to it. There's aggression to it. It kind of checks all the boxes, and I think it might be KO or submission of the year for me so far.
Fair enough. Me and Dave says, me and John Cena got beef. Fuck John Cena. And then that's all Dave said. So that's what popped up while you were talking. So I was like, kind of curious. I was like, I hope Dave elaborates just a little bit more because I'm curious why Dave doesn't like John Cena. Like let's hear this. And then Antoine, I wish I got to see Michael Strahan play. Okay. And then Dave elaborates a little bit more. He lived next to my boy in Florida. He used to walk his little dog and call the cops on my boy all the time. Man, that's not cool. That's wild. So John Cena used to call the cops on Dave. So that's not cool.
Dave.
That's not cool, Dave. All right.
How did you see him to know you were in his presence?
All right. Yeah. It just maybe he was wearing camouflage and he just stuck out. Seen us in the dark. Oh no. All right. Moving on down. We got Jack Jenkins taking on Ramon Tavares. He wins via decision. Just kind of a regular Jack Jenkins fight. Ramon Tavares, tough as hell though. Jack Jenkins, anytime like Ramon Tavares, change stances for one time, he would just land that leg kick, and then look like Ramon Tavares would immediately switch back. One thing about him too, dude, is it's like this dude. I don't know because he just now moved up and he still missed weight, so I don't know if like maybe he needs to get his diet under control. I'll probably go back down to 135 if I'm going to be completely honest, but. Yeah, he moved his hand from his face. Oh shit. Not Dave, but his friend. All right, fair enough. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares?
Good scrap, and Jack Jenkins, he looked good, and you can see after the fight how much it actually meant to him to be able to get that win. He was very emotional, talking about him coming back from injuries and then being able to kind of turn around and fight in front of his home crowd and stuff like that to be able to really get a win after a loss, after some injuries and things like that. He was just overloaded with joy. I thought Ramon Tavares looked pretty good. I mean, I thought they sized up pretty well. I don't know in terms of like if Ramon Tavares has any title aspirations, I am with you to say you probably need to be a 135, but I think 130 or 145. It seems like he might have just mismanaged it, maybe just a little bit, because he missed by like 2 pounds or so. Not the craziest miss, but still kind of like, hey, you moved up a weight class and you still missed weight. So
who does that?
Trying to do like Brian Battle. And
right?
Yeah, are you Brian Battle and go to dirty boxing, or are you trying to keep your contract with the UFC? So, but hopefully, hopefully Tavares can get that under control. But a good win for Jack Jenkins.
Yeah, fair enough. The one that I know we all want to talk about, Jake Matthews, Neil Magny. What the fuck happened here, man? Because it was the end of the first round, like 10 seconds left. Jake Matthews has Neil Magny in a one-arm guillotine. Neil Magny's arm kind of goes off to the side. The ref grabs it and immediately calls the fight. He's like, stop, it's over. And then you hear like, meh, like right after that, dude. And then Neil Magny's like, hey, I'm not out. You just grabbed my arm and then stopped it. Like you didn't like check to make sure I was out. And so he was like, oh, all right, well, let's just restart the fight then. The fight goes on. Jake Matthews in the second round has Neil Magny in a mounted triangle, dude, while armbarring him, and somehow does not get the finish, dude. So if I'm going to be honest, man, you have anyone in that position and don't finish them, dude, like that's the same position like Amanda Nunes had Megan Anderson in, dude. Like she just this triangle armbar with the armbar fully extended. Like you have to finish that, but Jake Matthews didn't finish it, and he goes on in the third round to get submitted himself, dude. And after the fight, like you said, he's gonna appeal the decision and like all that, dude. But kind of fucked up what happened. Like the referee did a terrible job, so I don't want to see that fucking dude again. But this fight as a whole was just a fucking mess, dude. What's your thoughts here?
Well, and here's my thing as well. So like, should the fight have been stopped? Like on a technicality, sure. But at that point, Jake Matthews probably shouldn't have even gotten the win, because if they had went back on replay review, they would have seen that Neil Magny was not out, and then they probably would have ruled it a no contest anyway. So I think in the end, I'm watching the fight, and I never thought Neil Magny was out. I'm even screaming there right before the ref stops it. I'm like, he better not stop it, because you can see he's still awake. He literally just gave the thumbs up. If he's doing that with 3 seconds left in the round, I'm going to let him go ahead and basically ride this round out. And if he's unconscious on the ground afterwards, then that's fine. But the ref got bailed out because the round ended.
He just made up his own rules.
It was a convenient excuse, because the round ended at that point. So then he could say, "Oh, well, the round ended. Now we can just move on to the second round like nothing ever happened." But at the end of the day, like, Jake Matthews can appeal and do all these things, and I think it's more on the ref than it was like the fighter. Like none of the fighters did anything wrong. But Neil Magny was also losing that fight 2-0 going into that third round, and fought his way back into that fight and earned that win as well. So I don't want people to try and take away the credit from Neil Magny, to say that, oh, well, that fight should have been stopped. Well, really, it shouldn't have, because Neil Magny wasn't out in the first place. That was just an incompetent ref who had no idea what he was doing, and just had the convenient excuse to say that the round ended, so that way they could just move on to the next round. But ball don't lie, because what ended up happening, I think probably should have happened anyway, because I don't think the fight should have been stopped. That's where the ref messed up, in my opinion, going in there saying it was over and then tried to say the round was over. But other than that, Neil Magny, that's a hard-earned win for him, fair square. And it is what it is. Hopefully Jake Matthews can get something worked out with that official. But other than that, that's a well-earned victory, in my opinion, for Neil Magny.
It sucks for Jake Matthews, though. Yeah, like imagine like the adrenaline rush that you get after you just thought that you won. And then wait, I got to fight round 2. I thought the fight was over, like, you're all cheering.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. You're it's a hard reset, because now you're having to turn right back around and say, oh shit, now I instead of me getting the win, now I got to go back out here and fight this dude again. But he also went out there and won the second round. And if you don't get yourself in a bad position in the third round, you probably won the fight. So again, Neil Magny had to keep fighting as well. And he ended up earning that win fair and square, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. And then moving on down to the one that broke the change to cheddar parlay this past week, Indy Rose, the only leg of the confidence parlay that fell out. It was Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. I needed the fight to start round 2. It lasted until 4 minutes and 8 seconds of round number 1, man. Like, after Charlie Campbell dropped Tom Nolan, and then he recovered, like, it was like 2 minutes through the round. I was like, all right, they're settling down a little bit. We're gonna make it to the second round. And then at the end of the first round, Tom Nolan drops Charlie Campbell, hops on his back, I think, and then gets a rear naked choke. Yeah. And so that was the fight. Ended 4 minutes and 8 seconds in the first round. Busted my parlays and busted D Rose's dog of the week. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
Almost ended up happening the exact way I said that it was going to happen as well. Almost in the first round, Charlie Campbell ended up rocking Tom Nolan early. But Tom Nolan, I will give him credit, because one of the big things that I was critical about him was that he gets hit a lot. And if you got a power puncher like Charlie Campbell, he can put you out. But he was able to, weather the storm and then able to get back into that fight. hurt Charlie Campbell himself, and then get the fight down to the ground, and was able to ultimately get the finish. So it was a great fight for as long as it lasted. Good resiliency from Tom Nolan. Good little scrap there. Charlie Campbell almost came through for me, but good fight nonetheless.
Yeah, man. And then moving on to the prelims, Navajo Sterling defeats Rodolfo Bellato via decision. Dude, after that fight, I'm not sure if we'll see Navajo Sterling knock out anyone in the UFC. It's probably going to be like grass is green, sky is blue, and Navajo Sterling via decision, just like Caitlin Chukagian was, man. I don't know. He didn't knock out Bellato, and he was throwing, like you could see he was throwing hard to the point where he kind of gassed in the third, trying to get Bellato out of there, but it just didn't happen. Cam Rowson knocks out Andre Petrosky in round number 1. That was my favorite play on the card, D Rose, and I thank goodness I played that bitch straight, dude, because I cashed out on that one, man. Cam Rowson smokes Andre Petrosky round number 1 via knockout. Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Jamie Malarkey wins via decision, and it's mostly just because Rolando Bedoya has no power in his hands. That's 4 in a row. They're going to cut Rolando Bedoya after that one. Colby Thickness defeats Josias Musasa via decision in a close fight, man. That one was real close, I'm going to be honest. Michelle Montague defeats Luana Carolina via decision, dude. I had her via sub in almost all my bets, so it kind of sucks when she's trying for it there in the third and she ends up not getting it. But UFC debut, she's going to be a problem. 7-0 at bantamweight, Bantamweight's kind of ass, so she could be a pretty solid fighter there. Brando Perchich gets the round 1 knockout over Snack Panther Elijah Ellison, dude. That dude pulled guard on a dude that's like twice the size of you and then just got pounded out. I'm like, what an idiot, dude. And then Alexa Thainara does defeat Loma Lukbumi via decision, man. Just sad to see because me and D-Rose were both on my girl Loma there, and she just couldn't pull it out. She just kept getting taken down and controlled, but she didn't get submitted, so that's good. A few that we did call D-Rose was both Tafas pulling out. Last week on the show, I was like, we just need the Tafas to pull out, and then we'll have a good amount of fights. And thank goodness both Tafas pull out, and we end up with 12 fights. But Oban Elliott fight does fall out as well. So that was kind of shitty. What's your thoughts on the prelims as a whole, man?
Yeah, some of the prelims were forgettable, I guess we can say. Colby Thickness, hey, Mr. Thickness, he came through for me. That fight was a little bit sketchy there, but I thought he won rounds 1 and 3 in my opinion. Yeah, it's almost like he could probably go down to flyweight. Like he doesn't have like any muscle mass at all, and he just doesn't carry like he's like a solid fighter, but there's no danger. Like he's got good top control, but that's about it. And he's going to get by with Volk being his training partner. I just don't know if I'm going to expect much from him. I'm with you that I think Montague will probably be a pretty good competitor up at bantamweight. UFC needs some women's bantamweight contenders, and Montague looked pretty good in her fight. Perchich, that was a good knockout there for against Alicia Ellison.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good knockout there. And I was pretty high on Luke Boomy myself, but Tainara, man, she looks good, and even her striking looks pretty good as well. So maybe she could be a problem because some of the women's divisions in general, we just kind of been needing new contenders, and she looks pretty dangerous right now. So I'm curious to see where Alexis Tainara could take it.
Fair enough. So that is the UFC Perth recap. D-Rose, you want to eat the beans first, or do you want to recap contender series?
Let's go ahead and knock these beans out, man.
All right, we're going to move to the beans eating. So this past weekend, the different picks for the pick champ were originally Montague versus Carolina, Musasa versus Thickness, Oban Elliott versus Jonathan Mellencamp, Louis Sutherland versus Justin Tafa, and Carlos Ulberg versus Dom Reyes. And the three that mattered were Josias Musasa versus Thickness, Oban Elliott versus Melcalf, and Louis Sutherland versus Justin Tafa. And if you'll notice that 2 of those 3 fell out. So 2 of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fell out, which only leaves us with 3 left. So the 3 different fights this past weekend were Montague versus Carolina, Musasa versus Thickness, and Olberg versus Reyes, where I went Montague, Musasa, and Olberg, and D Rose went Carolina, Thickness, and Reyes, which means I win 2 of the 3, which means D Rose is eating the beans this week. How you feeling, man?
I'm stressed. I'm stressed, dude.
Being Bob Platinum in the streets.
I didn't want the Olberg and Reyes in there. And
you picked it as the backup if any of them fell out.
I know, but I just did it for the main event. I would really cross my fingers and hoping that everything would have stayed the same, but man, that hurt. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, so cue the music. Just a little foreshadowing.
Don't stop.
D Rose found the stink bug in his room earlier. You know, like, oh, that's the flavor you're gonna get. Stink bug.
Nah, they
platinum in the streets.
A shitload of them here lately, dude.
It's only right. It's only right, man.
Dude, please no. Hold on. No. Oh shit. No, I actually.
That's toasted marshmallow or stink bug for sure, right?
This is either banana or wet dog because it's got the yellow tint to it.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Give him the wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet. I don't know. Did he have a bag ready? I don't understand. Did you have a bag ready there? Oh, goodness.
Dude, it literally... Hey, you ain't shit.
This isn't a swimming pool. This is a bathtub.
All right.
Is it the same one?
This is Stinky Socks or Tutti Frutti.
All right.
Come on, Tutti Frutti. Hey, it's the bean bop.
And it don't stop.
Ah! Dude, and this bag smells freaking awful right now. Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh goodness.
I'm not gonna lie, the smell of the bag is actually like, because where I got the wet dog and the stinky socks in there at the same time. Like that actually might be worse than actually eating the beans. Holy shit. I'm not gonna lie, just smelling that together might have just killed me there.
That's fair, man. That's fair. So that is Eat the Beans this week. D Rose just has to keep eating the beans, just over and over now. Like we were flip-flopping back and forth, but here I think 3 weeks in a row, two or 3 weeks in a row now, I've been on the pick champ. So just hoping to keep it going. Feels good to not have to eat the beans over here. So let's get into the Dana White Contender Series recap, D-Rose. So last night on Dana White Contender Series, we did have 5 fights. Tuesday nights are always really fun because, we got some fights to look forward to. I usually lose like $20, trying to win something, but, it is what it is. Lost some money last night as well. But going over the fights themselves, we had Rashid Vagabond versus Paulo da Silva, in which that was at 125. Paulo da Silva is a really big guy for 125, like thick, but Vagabond just pretty much wrestled him the whole time, but was kind of struggling there in the third. And then after the fight, Dana White said that, you were talking to me in the third, telling me how like you were going to be a champion, but you were struggling with the guy that you were fighting. Not interested in you, kid. So Rashid Vagabond wins the fight, but does not get the Contender Series or the UFC contract. Trains with Khabib's team. What's your thoughts on Rashid Vagabond, dude?
Yeah, I thought it was a decent fight, but I do think in terms of, what they're looking for on the Contender Series, I don't think that he brought it to that level. I think it's fair to say that just because, I do agree with Dana to say that, hey, he was a 7-1. I'm not gonna lie, like my throat's like still a little tickled, so I'm like I'm struggling right now. But yeah, he did struggle with somebody who he was a 7-1 favorite against, and I just think that Dana wanted something a little bit. If you're gonna act like that, it needs to be more convincing than the way you're acting. Yeah, the way you're acting versus the way it's actually playing out is a lot different. And I'm with Dana with his reasoning for not giving him the contract.
Fair enough. Moving on to the next one, we had Curtis, the Pink Panther Campbell, taking on Dembasek, dude. Pink Panther, Curtis Campbell came in there and just kind of like big brothered the guy, man. Just, the African dude was in fucking shown, throwing head kicks and shit like that, hitting a pillowcase for his fucking punching bag. And I was like, dude, this dude comes from like the bottom, dude. He's out there head kicking people and they're like landing on like fucking concrete curbs and shit like that, like in the middle of like the Congo, dude. It looked crazy, like on the little fucking picture there. But Curtis Campbell came out like out there, throwed hands with him, dude, took him down, got in these crazy scrambles, dude, but ended up getting him up against the fence and hitting him with a knee. And that knee actually knocked him out. The dude hit the ground, and then Campbell hit him like a few times, woke him back up, and then the ref fucking stopped it, where the guy's like, oh, like, what's going on? And Curtis Campbell, kind of like the Patty 2.0, if you will, coming out of Liverpool, dude, 8-0. What's your thoughts on Curtis Campbell, man?
Yeah, another guy who I think people are going to love his accent as well. The accent was very infectious. Me and Amber were both watching it last night, just repeating things that he was saying in his post-fight, in his post-fight speech, just because with the way that he just says things, I think people are going to be really attracted to that. But yeah, good performance. And as you said, I think really it was that
fucking
knee
boy.
Yeah. Come on, Lord. I think he's going to be. I think he will end up being like one of those fan favorites. But yeah, I think the knee was the one that ended up knocking him out. The ground and pound was just for an extra touch, but yeah, I thought that knee was really the one that ended up putting Sek out there. But good performance for Curtis Campbell, and yeah, I'll definitely be excited to see him.
Yeah, man. Moving on to another one, dude. We had Alvididres, I believe that's how you say it. Taking on I'm gonna call him Elizer because I'm gonna ruin his fucking last name, dude. This dude, Elizer from the Democratic Republic, dude, was probably one of the scariest looking dudes I've ever seen, dude. It's like the dude had veins coming out of every part of his body, dude. His shoulders, his biceps, his forearms, his fucking thighs, he had veins coming out of, dude. He just looked so mean, dude. Like, he looks like he's like the villain in like a fucking Christmas movie where he's gonna come like instead of like like deliver packages. He's gonna come kill your whole family, dude. He does not look like a nice fella at all. But Alvididres just comes in there, says fuck how this guy looks, and just banged with him, dude. Ends up getting the first round knockout, man. What's your thoughts on Alvididres, dude? Because if he did that to that scary looking dude, I'm sure anyone in the UFC, he's down to just go out there and fucking throw with, dude. Because on the look scale, dude, that dude was probably the scariest looking dude I've ever seen fight. Like he's like Francis level, dude. It was absolutely nuts. At 170, that's the wild part. It was crazy, man. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts there, man?
Yeah, I loved how Dana actually gave him props as well after the fight, saying like, when you say Yanni the Greek is the scariest, he looks like he's the scariest in terms of he's the most scared because he always looks like a scared cat when he's on. Yeah, he looks like a scared cat when he's on camera, just with his eyes wide open the way it is.
Well, guys, because the market does this, I'm gonna take Alvididres.
Yeah, he looks shocked when they throw it to him. Yeah, he looks shocked when they throw it to him. It's like Yanni, I know they prepped you on this. They're throwing it to you. You got to be ready. And he's just, eyes just wide open. But no, I thought Alvidres, I think it is. Yeah, dude, good scrap from him. He looked sharp with the striking. And again, I loved how Dana had mentioned after the fight how scary his opponent was. Eliezer, talking about how he's one of the scariest looking dudes. And Alvidres went on there and honestly, I thought the fight was stopped a little bit late, like because Dean gave Eliezer every chance in the world to get back into that fight. And I will say there were moments where like Eliezer, he gave him a thumbs up, and as soon as he gave him the thumbs up, he did grab one of Alvidres' hands. So it was like every single time he would give him a thumbs up, he would grab a hand and kind of intelligently defend himself enough to where I could understand why Herb didn't stop it. But after he stood up and he's just like kind of looking like the inflatable arm man, like kind of just flapping back and forth, I'm like, okay, you can go ahead and stop the fight now. And thankfully Herb Dean did. But yeah, that was a hell of a performance from Alvidres.
Yeah, and then Antoine, just to answer like your question, I just think it's the training. Like they need don't get me wrong, hell of athletes, dude, like super high level athletes, but they need some training because if you saw the video that they were showing on Contender Series last night, it's like this dude for a heavy bag is hitting like a pillowcase stuffed with sand. Like that's not a heavy bag, like we need some actual training, man. So, maybe get some of these guys like the UK, like over here at the PI, and then maybe we can, go somewhere for there. Dave had a super sad story. It was cool to see to make his dream come true. They kept talking about how he had a hole in his hand. Like it's like, oh, all right, man. It's like he didn't have any broken bones, like or anything like that. Like he made a full recovery. Y'all keep talking about the hole in his hand. Maybe he has like a steel plate in there. And he's just like mashing fools with it. He's got a little cheat code in there,
That makes sense on how he's hurting people. That makes sense.
Maybe. Anyway, moving on, we have Louis Jourdain, Charles Jourdain's little brother, and he fought. I thought his name was Mango Diaz, but it's Magno Diaz. And Charles Jourdain's little brother, Louis Diaz, is, fights like Charles Jourdain, but I think he's a little bit more technical, a little bit more clean, man. And at least on the feet, but from what I've seen, he's been fighting professional boxing like over the past few years, something like that. So you can see where, he's pretty clean on the feet. But what surprised me was in round 3 where Magno Diaz has been trying to get this takedown the whole fight, been going for subs the whole fight. Louis Jourdain, ends up on Magno Diaz's back and gets the, 3rd round rear naked choke. What's your thoughts on that one, man?
Yeah, I thought that was honestly, I'd say probably Louis Jourdain. I was with Dana that he might have been the most impressive on the card. Like I thought he honestly whooped up on Diaz, the whole fight. I thought it wasn't close. I thought that Jourdain, looked sharp, and I'm with you that in terms of how he looked like Charles Jourdain, but a little bit cleaner. I thought the kicks looked very similar to one another, especially how they throw the kicks. Kind of like how they'll throw like the kind of like that teep kick. The way they throw it. They throw it very similarly. But Louis' hands are definitely sharper than Charles Jourdain. And yeah, looked good with the hands. I think he was hurting Diaz, and honestly, that submission kind of had a little bit of Fluffy Hernandez and Roman Dolidze vibes. Where honestly, I thought that Roman Dolidze was like, thank goodness he's got this. I can tap and get out of here. Like I think it's one of those. Like I think Diaz was almost just like, dude, get me out of here. Like he is lumping me up, and I'm done with this. I cannot take another 4 minutes of this. So yeah, get me the hell out of here. But yeah, Louis Jourdain, he looked awesome.
That's fair, dude. And then the highlight of my night was hearing them talk about Damian Penis, dude. They kept saying penis, dude. I was like, yeah, just keep saying penis. It's just great. Just making me laugh every time they say it. Penis does this. Penis does this. But Damian Penis wins the fight via first round knockout via jab cross, man. What's your thoughts on the penis guy? As that's why we'll refer to him every time he fights, the penis guy.
Penis. It's like Michael Penix, Damian Penis, like all these names. They're right on the borderline of it. But no, I thought this was the most vicious knockout out of all of them on there. Because dude, that step through, just the way he hit that. He could have had like a Mark Hunt walk-off moment, but he was not going to let that go. He wanted to go with that follow-up and get that ground and pound finish. But that was a hell of a knockout, and it was only a matter of time. And that movement from Costa, like, dude, it was honestly, it was kind of getting on my nerves how he's like just going like crazy and like spazzing and stuff. And like, I mean, he looked kind of
like he looked uncomfortable there.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like he doesn't even know what he's going to do next. He's like, it provides unpredictability, but with you moving your hands so much, you're like putting yourself in positions to where you're not going to have any power on your shots. And it just looked kind of funny how, he's just, kind of spazzing out like that. But, I thought he looked pretty decent for as long as it lasted, but Penis, man, that right hand from hell and then ground and pound for the follow-up, it was absolutely vicious.
Yeah. And Dave says Damian Penis is my cocky. Indeed. Yeah. So now we have a penis guy in the UFC and we have a fucking piss guy in the UFC.
There we go. And all we need is for Justine Kish back in there to shit her pants, and we got the full cycle.
Yeah, man. Crazy. All right, let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements segment of the show. So let me share my screen and we will get into it. So Dana White went live earlier. D Rose got me all excited for him to come on here and be like, all right, in Qatar, November 22nd, we got in the main event Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker, and the co-main event Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. All right, y'all, that's it. And I got to be honest, dude, I was a little disappointed because usually when he hops on there, he'll give us, 3 or 4, 5 different fights. No, just main and co-main event of UFC Qatar. I mean, yeah, these are 2 good fights. I'm excited to see Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. I know Dan Hooker's been calling for that fight for a long time, but the co-main event, I don't really care about that one. I know you're excited for it, so I guess let me know your thoughts and opinions on the 2 fights, man.
Yeah, this will be like a Super Bowl for me in terms of these 2 fights. No, but so Machado Gary and Muhammad is the co-main.
Yes.
Is that a 5-round co-main? Do we know that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because that's interesting to see that if they don't get a 5-round fight, and maybe Bilal wanted a 3-round fight coming off of multiple 5-round fights, from main events and championship fights and things like that. But I figured Ian Gary and Bilal Muhammad would both want 5 rounds to be able to, kind of justify, instead of 3 rounds, hey, you have 5 rounds and no excuses at the end. So, yeah, I mean, nothing as of yet, and I guess we'll find out still. If it's going to be a 5-round co-main event, because I would not be surprised if that would be the case. But that's a good matchup between Bilal Muhammad and Ian Machado Gary. Two good fighters who were Bilal Muhammad is kind of figured himself out, and Ian Gary, I people were calling him out for not taking the fight with Sean Brady, but Ian Gary said it right. I'm trying to get the fight with the guy who knocked out Sean Brady. Like, I'm not trying to fight Sean Brady. I'm trying to fight the guy who knocked him out. Former champion, gets him closer to the belt. So I can understand why Ian wants that fight. And I think it's a good fight. And for the main event with Hooker and Saryukian, that's a good scrap. I think you can arguably say winner of that fight gets the title shot. And maybe that's what Ilia Topuria is waiting on as well. Maybe if Arman does go in there and get the win, maybe they do give him the title shot, or maybe Dan Hooker does go in there and get the win, pull off the upset, get the knockout, something to that effect, and is able to pull off an upset and get a title shot against Ilia. Who knows? Anything's up in the air at this point, but I think that's what's on the table for that main event, and I think it's a good fight.
All right, man. Fair enough. We got some other news here. We've got BSD taking on Beneil Dariush. This is going to be added to the UFC 322 card in MSG in November 15th. Dude, what's your thoughts on that one?
That's a good fight, man. That's a good fight. It's I'm not gonna lie, that the BSD is probably gonna be a pretty significant favorite. Man, it's just hard not to want to try to pull the trigger on BSD. I'm going to be curious to see where that or pull the trigger on Beneil. I'm going to be curious to see where that bet line is going to be, because if Beneil is going to be plus 280, plus 300, might sprinkle a little bit of action on it just because how good he is.
That's fair, dude. Antoine, I think Mini D can win this fight. He can beat him everywhere. Maybe. We'll see. MMA math is absolutely nuts, man. We'll see what happens. And then we got one here. UFC Vegas 111 main event is set. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Dude, what's your thoughts on this one?
Did you say main event?
Yeah, main event.
This is 100% the Apex, right?
Well, it's Vegas 111, so yeah.
Oh yeah. That's definitely That's all that's definitely Apex material. I was like, Randy Brown and Gabriel Bonfim is main eventing a card. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, sure. I'm super excited about that fight, to be honest. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, Derek's upset that he will never get BSD versus Fiziev. Maybe one day. Maybe one day, Derek. Crazy. All right, let's see what else we got here. We already got those. Those are old. Let's see what Home Fight is got posted right now. Anything new? We saw those. Did you see that fucking Yuri? Like how he's doing sprints, dude, with his mouth taped and his nose held shut. He's not breathing at all, man.
Who is he? Ashton Taylor?
Dude, I don't know if I have the sound. I don't think I have the sound shared, but I would show it to you. But yeah, there's a video here. Look, closing his mouth, closing his nose, and then he's doing sprints, dude. Absolutely nuts.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. I love it. How can you not love it, dude? Brian Battle has got to fight. Wait, what is this? I thought he fucking signed to the PFL. What happened, dude?
Maybe he doesn't have an exclusive deal. And PFL, a lot of times where they do the season, maybe he got a deal where maybe in the off season he's able to, he's able to fight in other promotions.
Yeah, maybe that. I guess that makes sense. I mean, like fucking PFL can afford to pay anyone anyway, so
Right.
we'll
Well,
see what happens.
remember, when they got all the Bellator guys over, and the Bellator guys were kind of, getting a little impatient because they weren't getting fights. It's because in the transition, like it was during the PFL off season, and MMA really doesn't have an off season, but where PFL is, season structured, they have a season and an off season, and it's just weird on that, man.
Yeah, man. Some other news that happened over this
Oh,
past weekend was Wanderlei Silva getting absolutely snoozed by a guy in a tuxedo. It's the guy that came in there, hit him right there in the back, and then you see him just right here. And just all of a sudden, where's he at? Where's he at? Whams him right there and flatlines Wanderlei Silva. And I see a lot of people like you know, upset about the whole situation. But I went back and I was like, why, why did this happen? And watching the boxing match, dude, Wanderlei Silva kept like headbutting the guy. Like he would like have him like in the clinch and like he would like headbutt him. Like, and he kept doing it and kept doing it. And then so like the ref stopped the fight, disqualified him, and then the brawl broke out because he kept like headbutting the fucking guy. So I'm not gonna say it's deserved, but the one kind of had that coming. Like if we're gonna be completely honest, like you can't be headbutting people in the middle of a boxing match, but that's what happens. Wanderlei Silva, what's your thoughts on the whole situation, man?
Yeah, good old Wandy there to they're back to his old antics,
The
doing
wand.
some dirty stuff. Yeah, the old Wandy's back at it again. But and the worst part is I'm pretty sure they said it was supposed to be an exhibition match. So like it's not even supposed to be something where they're going all that hard on each other for. And it's just like it's not in Wanderlei's like spirit to go light in anything. He has to go 100% aggressive, but and he didn't have to act the way he was acting. As you said, the headbutts were a little bit crazy, but the guys getting in there and sleeping Wanderlei Silva. I mean, dude, that was because I don't know. Have you seen him since he's left the
His
hospital?
face
Like,
is all swollen, dude.
dude, he
Want to
looks
know?
he went wanna know. Yeah, hey, dude, his whole face is swollen. His neck from one punch, he ended up getting. And I know it was a bare knuckle punch straight to the face. He wasn't looking, but dude, that was brutal. I think they said he broke his nose. Yeah, that was brutal. And honestly, it was just not that I was upset that it happened, but it was honestly I was not like I was like pissed off, but I was like, man, that's just sad to see Vanderlei, kind of in that position now. You'd like for him to be like better off to maybe where he's coaching guys and stuff like that, and not being, caught in the middle of these brawls at 49 years old. But yes, tough because he kind of started it, but you don't want to see that on his end as well, though.
Yeah, man, I agree. So I'll get back to sharing my screen. We'll see if we got anything else here on here before we get out. Report from Nate Diaz reportedly turned down offers to compete in the BKFC, citing he has too much scar tissue. Well, that's fair. Let's see. Concerns. Charles Oliveira is raising concerns with fans after traveling to Las Vegas to coach his teammate just a week before his main event in Rio. What's your thoughts there, man?
I mean, I don't think that's too crazy. I mean, it's helping him stay locked in. It's not like he's partying or going to weddings or doing something crazy like that. I mean, he's still staying locked into the fight game, even though he's not fighting, he's coaching. But it still helped him get. I'm sure he can get his own learning points and be able to train as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't throw any red flags about that.
All right. Alexander Volkanovski claims Lerone Murphy isn't his next opponent. Oh shit! That means it's got to be Mobstar next, right?
Who knows? Because I mean, we've kind of gone back and forth on this. I mean, Volk's called for everybody, and it seems like he's getting nobody. And again, they haven't given Mozart the chance yet, and then Lerone's supposed to get it, and who knows at this point, to be honest.
Yeah. And then the Atiba Gaudier versus Ozzy Diaz fight is off the card this weekend due to a unspecified injury on the Ozzy Diaz side. What do you think that injury was, D Rose? Maybe he maybe I shouldn't fight this African savage that's gonna cave my head in.
It was probably he probably had the BGs.
The bubble
where
guts.
we come from. Yeah, he had the bubble guts. That's
But
what he probably got, because I can't blame him.
But you know who didn't get the bubble guts? The guy that's stepping in on short notice, Trayshawn Vines. he's 10-3 out of Cage Fit Academy. He's going to be fighting Atiba Gaudier this weekend, dude. So that should be an absolute fun thing to watch. That should be fun to watch.
It should be a can crushing. It should be a can crushing. So let's see if there's another guy, and we'll talk about it. But let's see if there's another guy who's going to be willing to stand in there and take punches from Atiba Gaudier and then wave him on again.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then we got Antoine saying also, I don't know if you guys saw, but John McCarthy has left the weigh-in podcast to come out of retirement. He's going to ref again. What's your thoughts on that?
Whoa, that's I mean, honestly, the game needs it. Truthfully, it was crazy that he retired as early as he did, but he's a little bit older now, so I'm surprised that he's getting back into it. But that's if that's true, yeah, that's awesome, because I truthfully think reffing needs somebody like McCarthy.
Yeah, man. So that's gonna be we got Skunks here, dudes. I'm late. So the Gaudier fight's still on. He's gonna have a new opponent, man. Betting on he'll be probably way more than that, Antoine. I'm gonna guess probably 1,500, 1,600, something like that. What about you, Dearest?
Anywhere in that ballpark. Yeah, anything over -1,000, I'm not gonna be surprised.
Yeah, so that's fair. Let's see. He said live on the
podcast. I have to piss real quick if you can take it.
All right, man. That's fine. So with that being said, we will move into the picks and predictions part of the show. So we'll get our banner changed, and then we will share a different screen. So share this tab instead, make sure. And so here we go. So this upcoming weekend in Las Vegas, we have UFC 320, Ankalaev versus Pereira 2 is going to take place Saturday, October 4th at 6 p.m. East Coast time. So the prelims are going to start at 6 p.m. That's the first fight. It is going to take place at the T-Mobile Arena in, of course, Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got 14 fights to go over. It's going to be headlined by Magomed Ankalaev versus Poatan Alex Pereira. The co-main event, or I'm sorry, that fight is for the 205 light heavyweight division. What am I saying? 205-pound light heavyweight championship. The co-main event is for the bantamweight championship, 135 pounds. We got Merab the Machine Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen. The featured fight of the night is going to be Yuri Prohashka taking on Khalil Roundtree Jr. We've got Josh Emmett taking on Yusuf Salal. We've got Body Bags Joe Pfeiffer taking on Abus Magomedov. We've got Atiba Gaudier taking on Trayston Vines. I don't know. He's going to get crushed, though. I'll tell you that. Anyway, we've got Edmund Shabazian, the Golden Boy, taking on Andre Muniz, that's Rodolfo Vieira is the Black Belt Hunter. I don't know. It's got something to do with I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. We got Farid Basharat taking on Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. We've got Daniel Willie Cat Santos taking on Ju Sang Yu. I believe that is the Zombie Jr. I think that's his fight name. Anyway, we've got Macy Chasson taking on Yana Santos. We've got the returning Patchy Mix taking on Jacob Wilclatz. This is the second time Patchy Mix is fighting in the UFC. Buried way down on the prelims this week, not on the main card this time. We've got Punahele Soriano taking on Nikolai Veretinnikov. We have Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Austin Vanderford. And the first fight of the night will be Veronica Hardy taking on Brogan Walker. D-Rose, are you back there yet, man? Oh, yeah. I see you. What's your thoughts? What was your first thought when you saw Brogan Walker on this card, man?
Truth be told, I'm actually just now seeing that Brogan Walker is on this card. I don't know how I overlooked that fight, but
yeah. First fight on the card, Veronica Hardy versus Brogan Walker. But the odds reflect pretty much what should happen. So with the 14 fights on the card, D-Rose, what's your thoughts as a whole? And I'm gonna run and grab something to drink now that you're back. If you want to talk to the people, let them know what you're if you want to give the card a grade and let them know what the one you're looking forward to is.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good card from top to bottom. I mean, of course, that main card's loaded. I mean, you look at that main card, you got, obviously Ankalaev, Pereira, Marab, Corey Sandhagen, Yuri Khalil, Zalal and Emmett. That one could potentially be a little bit slow if Yusuf Zalal makes it, and Joe Piper, Abus. That main card's a banger. And the prelims got a little bit of everything for everybody. Not bangers the whole way through the prelims, but I do think, for the most part, there should be some pretty good fights. If I'm grading this card, I still don't think. So I'm going to say, based off the main card, especially the top 3 fights, I'm going to have to give it an A-. I'm not the most excited for the main event, but that co-main and that featured fight with Khalil and Yuri, I'm definitely excited for that. So yeah, if I'm grading the pay-per-view, I gotta say probably A-.
Fair enough. I agree, man. So I ain't seen the yeah, it has been a little bit, Dave. Also, who do you guys think has the most potential? Antoine likes penis. You shouldn't say that, Antoine.
Be nice.
The penis guy. All right. So we got our breakdown for this upcoming weekend, UFC 320. So let's get to the picks, man. Share this tab instead. First fight of the night will be Veronica Hardy taking on Brogan Walker, man. So let me get the odds for the fight pulled up here, but let's just get into it. We got Veronica Hardy, 9-5-1 overall out of her last 5 fights. She is 3 wins and 2 losses, with a loss to Eduardo Mora in her last fight. And before that, her last loss was to Ben Malecki 5 years ago. In between, she has a win over Juliana Miller, win over Jamie Lynn Horth, and a win over JJ Aldridge. She is 29 years old, 5'4", and a 64-inch reach. On the other side, Brogan Walker is currently 7-4 overall, has only won 1 fight out of her last 5, and that was before the UFC in Invicta. She's had 2 UFC fights, lost to Juliana Miller. She got ground and pound TKO by Juliana Miller. And that was surprising to me, because I know I watched The Ultimate Fighter that year, and I picked Brogan Walker to beat Juliana Miller because I saw how bad Juliana Miller was on tough, dude. And, Brogan Walker, had some fights. She had Juliana Miller won the Ultimate Fighter at 3-0. Brogan Walker was the more experienced girl, and she seemed to have the better striking. But when they fought, Juliana Miller just did whatever she wanted. And from that point on, Brogan Walker, immediate fade from that point on. She lost to Yasmin Lucindo 2 years and 5 months ago. She is 36 years old, 5'4" and a 67-inch reach. D-Rose, is there any way that this fight doesn't end with Veronica Hardy winning this fight via decision? Like, is there a chance Veronica Hardy finishes her, dude? Because if not, it's Veronica Hardy via decision 10 times out of 10, dude.
You don't think Brogan Walker gets the job done here?
No, I don't.
Man, dirty. Well, I will say I won't even waste too much time on this because I actually agree with you. I do think Veronica Hardy, just a more talented fighter everywhere. I mean, Brogan Walker is a little bit of a kind of like a muscle hamster a little bit. So, built in stature, but kind of very basic with everything. Where I think Veronica's got a pretty good fight IQ, training with Dan Hardy and, people like that. I think Veronica Hardy gets it done by decision.
All right, so me and D-Rose both on Veronica Hardy via decision. We got Dave dropping the shamas. What's going on, Ari? How you doing, brother? And Dave says broken round 2. So I hope not, Dave. I hope not, brother. Moving on to the next one. We've got Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Austin Vanderford, Mr. Van Zandt, if you will. Odds for the fight are Ramiz Brahimaj plus 240, your underdog. Austin Vanderford minus 298, basically minus 300. Ramiz Brahimaj is 12-5 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 2 losses, 3 wins. Lost 3 years ago to Court McGee. Win over Michael Gilmore. Lost to Themba Garimbo. And D-Rose, after this, there was a big break in between here, and there was a spine/neck injury for Ramiz Brahimaj. And then he came back and lost to Themba Garimbo, got outclassed bad. So when he fought Mickey Gall, dude, I actually think I picked Mickey Gall to beat Ramiz Brahimaj just because I thought Ramiz Brahimaj was cooked. I thought he was done.
Pretty sure we both did.
Yeah, but Mickey Gall does get knocked out by Ramiz Brahimaj, and his last fight was one of our fisting us of the weeks, D-Rose. We picked Billy Ray Goff to fist Ramiz Brahimaj, and he comes out there and chokes out Billy Ray Goff in round number 1. So Ramiz Brahimaj might just be back, man. We'll see. He is 32 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach. Trains with Kevin Holland at Travis Salute or BJJ. The gentleman, Mr. Van Zandt, if you will, is 13-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. 1 win in the UFC against Nikolai Veretenegov. That was 7 months ago. He is 35 years old, 5'11", and a 74-inch reach. This one's hard for me to pick, D-Rose, if I'm going to be honest. Do I think Austin Vanderford should be favored? I think so, but I mean, minus 300, I don't think so, man. If I'm going to be completely honest, it seems a little much for me. And just by how he's looked in his last few, I think I might go Ramiz Brahimaj here, man. Let's go Ramiz Brahimaj. I think when he wins, it's always in the first round. I don't think he's ever won a fight outside the first round, if I'm going to be honest. I think he always wins in the first round. So let's go Ramiz Brahimaj. Let's go round 1 submission. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, this fight, and I'm just trying to make sure. I'm pretty sure I see, but it is at welterweight, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, because I know Vanderford has fought at 185 in the past. But I don't think he's the biggest 185er. I think he's much more suited for 170. But I think for this fight, I think it's Brahimaj is a lot more dangerous than Vanderford. Brahimaj has got good power, especially as you said early in that first round. He's very aggressive. He gets after it. So he does go for the kill in that first round. But I will say a lot of his fights, if he's not able to get that finish in the first round, it's almost like he's not really able to kind of sustain that momentum in the first round and get a win. Where I think Austin Vanderford is pretty good about being able to weather the storm, fight with pressure coming against him. He's got pretty good wrestling himself, And Brahimaj, I have seen him getting taken down in the past before as well. So nothing out of the ordinary. I do think Brahimaj is a tough guy to finish. I was thinking maybe submission for Vanderford, but I think decision is the way to go here. I think Vanderford is not going to be the prettiest. You're probably going to see a lot of wrestling, but I think Vanderford gets it done by decision.
Fair enough. Me and Dero split on that one. You guys ever looked at a $20 bill on weed? Good movie, dude. Good movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. Oh, young Dave Chappelle in How High, dude.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one. I ain't gonna lie.
I remember everything, D-Rose, for some reason. Moving on to the next one. Let's get, let's see, Brahimaj Vanderford. All right, moving on to the next one. We've got Punahele Soriano taking on Nikolai Veretinikov. That's the guy that Austin Vanderford last fought. Anyway, we got Punahele Soriano, 11-4 overall. He is 32 years old, 5'11" and a 72-inch reach. Out of his last 5 fights, he has 3 wins and 2 losses. Win over Dasha Lugambula, lost to Roman Kapilov, lost to Dustin Stolfoots, which really surprising to me. Win over Miguel Baeza and a win over Uros Medic in his last fight 8 months ago. Refound himself down at 170 pounds. Nikolai Veretinikov is 13-6 on the other hand. He is 35 years old, 6'1" and a 74-inch reach. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. Win over Francisco Prado. That was a real sketchy split decision win. I had Prado winning that. He lost to Vanderford via KO and then lost to Danny Barlow via split decision a year and some change ago. And before that, not in the UFC. D-Rose, I like the way Puna looks down at 170, dude. And I think if he just sticks to it, I think Puna is going to be a problem down at 170. For this one, though, he has a very big advantage if he is to wrestle here. So I'm going to hope Puna wrestles here, and I'm going to go Puna via decision. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I think that's I don't think that's a bad play. I think Veretanikov is a pretty tough dude. And he's got I guess his best attribute would probably be his wrestling, but his striking is not terrible per se. But I do think that I think Puna's the more dangerous guy. I think he's on a roll right now. Especially down at 170, he's been hurting dudes pretty easy, and for him to put out Uros Medic the way he did, it really surprised me, man. So I do think that Puna can get it done. And I'm going to say he actually gets it done by knockout. I'm going to go round 1 knockout for Puna here to get it done. I think he lands one of the big Puna bombs early on and puts Veretanikov on skates and is relentless until he gets the finish. So give me Puna by first round knockout.
Fair enough, man. I'm glad me and you are both on Puna there. I got him via decision, though. We'll see what happens. Moving on, we got Patchy Mix taking on Jacob Wicklatz. No love, Patchy Mix, 20-2 overall. Lost his last fight, we all know, against Mario Bautista 3 months ago. Before that, he was in Bellator. He is 32 years old, 5'11", and a 70-inch reach, while Jacob Wicklatz is 16-3-2 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and a no contest there. He is 29 years old, 5'9", and a 72-inch reach. Is this anything more than a get-right spot for Patchy Mix D-Rose? I looked at Jacob Wicklatz. He looks to be a grappler, man, and that's Patchy Mix's game plan. So I'm going to go Patchy Mix to win this fight via first-round submission, man. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I am with you that I do think that, just looking at Wicklatz, I looked at him just a little bit before we hopped on here. I told you I was doing I hadn't had a chance to look at him too much just yet, but I am with you in terms of just the way that he tries to get the fight done is by getting it down to the ground. And I think for Patchy Mix, I think that is his best attribute as well. His jiu-jitsu is clean. He's got good scrambles. His submissions are nasty. He's got a variety of them. He can get them from his back. He can, he's got good chokes. Seen him get some slick arm bars off. that was really what was disappointing about his UFC debut, that he didn't try to use any of that. He tried to use the striking, which is not his best attribute. Go to where your bread is buttered. Go to the ground, and I think Pat Smith gets it done as well. And I'm also going to go. I'll go round 2 submission and switch it up a little bit. Give me round 2 sub for Patchy Mix.
All right, me and Deros both on Patchy Mix. Moving on to the next one, we've got Macy Chasson taking on Foxy Yana Santos. Macy Chasson, 10-4 overall out of her last 5 fights, 2 losses, 3 wins. Lost to Kaylin Vieira 3 months ago, win over Myra Bueno Silva a year ago, win over Penny Kianzad, lost to Irina Aldana, the upkick to the liver, but a win over Norma Dumont, which is surprising 3 years ago, though. 34 years old, 5'11", big girl, D-Rose, 72-inch reach. I don't think we've been doing odds for the fight. So odds for Patchy Mix -310, +250 Jacob Wilklatz. Macy Chasson is -198, so basically -200. Yana Santos +164. And she is 16-8 overall out of her last 5 fights, 2 wins and 3 losses. Win over Misha Tate, which was surprising, dude. But Misha Tate in that 3rd round, dude, came on strong, dude. I thought she was going to finish her. She ended up not getting that finish, though. She did beat Chelsea Chandler a year ago. Before that, lost to Carol Rosa, lost to Holly Holm, and I think she was pregnant in that fight, too. Or the Irina Aldana fight, one of those two, and then got knocked out by Irina Aldana. She is 35 years old, 5'6", and a 68.5-inch reach. I talked a lot for that one for D-Rose to ask you. We know Macy Chasson. I personally think Macy Chasson wins this fight 9 times out of 10, man. My question is, does she finish Yana Santos?
Yana Santos is pretty tough in my opinion, and I will say after Chasson, I honestly thought, even though Caitlin Vieira is good, I thought she really laid an egg in that last fight. So I'm not super confident in however she's to try to get this thing done. But I think Yana is tough, so I think a finish is going to be hard to come by. So I am going to pick Macy Chasson by decision, but in terms of betting, I'm not getting near this at all.
I'll probably play. I like the Macy fucking money line. I like -200. I think that's a solid parlay piece, dude. She's gonna be a lot bigger than fucking Yana Santos is, and I'm worried about after weigh-in day. I think fucking Macy Chasson climbs up to like -300, -400, and then all the value there is just gone just because she's gonna have a huge size advantage. But we'll see. How do you guys think Mario does against Umar? It's in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. We'll have to talk about it. It's cool to see Batista get a step up, indeed. So me and D-Rose both on Macy Chasson there. Moving on to the next one, we got Daniel Willie Cat Santos taking on Zombie Jr. Ju Sang Yu. Yeah. Willie Cat is 12-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss. That was before the UFC. Lost to Julio Arce, win over John Castaneda, win over Johnny Munoz Jr., and win over Jiang Lee. He is 30 years old, 5'7", and a 67-inch reach, while Zombie Jr. Ju Sang Yu is 9-0, undefeated, 31 years old, 5'7", and a 71-inch reach. This is going to be at 145 pounds, D-Rose, so I believe Daniel Santos belongs down at 135 if we're going to be honest, but he did look pretty solid against Jiang Lee in his last fight, man. Was able to stuff all those takedowns, and they're putting him against another Korean fighter, dude, and I think he was going to fight Do-Ho Choi, and Do-Ho Choi ended up fucking pulling out. So I don't know what Willie Cat has against these Korean fighters, but UFC is just keeps matching them up, man. With that being said, this one's one that I've kind of flipped back and forth on quite a bit. For some reason, I just keep flipping back and forth, and I don't know why. Odds for the fight, Willie Cat -142, the favorite. Ju Sang Yu is +120, the dog. Yeah, I just think if this ends up being on the feet, man, I do think Willie Cat is a little bit more active. I do think Zombie Jr. will kind of wait on his opponent to attack and then kind of counter. But if he's too slow to counter, then he's just going to be behind the whole fight. So I'm going to go Willie Cat to win this fight via decision. I believe this is going to be a banger, man. I believe both dudes throw heat. Both dudes will probably get dropped in this fight, but I think it's going to be a barn burner that ends up going to decision, or Willie Cat gets his hand raised. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I did think in terms of, the most scrappiest fight, this might be the most scrappiest on the card because I can see these two thrown down. And I for Daniel Santos, as you said, moving up a weight class, his power isn't going to carry as much as it was then at 135, how he could put a little bit more pop on his shots. And I do think Zombie Jr., kind of has a little bit of that boxing style like Zombie to a certain extent. I think where, both the guys are well-rounded, both can wrestle, both can strike. But I do think that for Willie Cat there, Daniel Santos, I think with him having, to me, just watching him, it looks like he has a speed advantage. And just for him being able to just really put up volume up at 145. So
I
cashed
like
might have a little
here, though. Fucking around 1K Jakasari.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, he's definitely got hands, and Jake Saraki's,
Genius,
I'm not
huh?
gonna say that. He's definitely a guy that gets knocked out, but Daniel Santos, he, super tough dude. So I can see this fight going a little bit long, but let's go Daniel Santos. I'm gonna go by decision, but I think it's a good scrap.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Willie Cat, Daniel Santos via decision. Moving on to the next one. We got Farid Basharat taking on Chris Gutierrez. Ferocious Farid Basharat, 13-0. Huge favorite right now. Currently minus 470, D-Rose. He is 13-0 out of his last 5 fights, obviously 5-0. Unanimous decision win over Victor Hugo, Taylor Lapillus, triangle win over Clejason Rodriguez, decision win over Damon Blackshear, and decision win on the Contender Series. He is 28 years old, 5'8", and a 71-inch reach, while Chris El Guapo Gutierrez is 22, 5-2 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. Win over John Castaneda and Quang Lee. Lost to Song Yadong. Win over Alatong Haley and lost to Pedro Munoz. Chris Gutierrez is 34 years old, 5'9", and a 67-inch reach. D-Rose, we are paying this Basharat tax again, huh? Even though one of them lost, the price is still really expensive. Chris Gutierrez, solid leg kicks, but D-Rose, I feel like every single Chris Gutierrez fight, we're just asking him to do something, man. It's like he's just not doing enough, and every single fight ends up going to this sketchy-ass split decision, man. Chris Gutierrez, if he won this fight, it wouldn't surprise me too much. But as far as betting, dude, I might take the over in a parlay, but I am not betting Chris Gutierrez. And probably if I have to bet Farid Basharat decision, but I'll probably just take the over or not even bet this fight. Give me Farid Basharat via decision. I said Farid Basharat. Farid Basharat via decision. Just lots of takedowns, lots of control time. What's your thoughts here, man?
A little dyslexia never hurt anybody. It never hurts.
Read.
But yeah, no, I think this one is honestly it's a tough one for me to call. I think Gutierrez has the UFC experience, where Farid Basharat has the youth and all that stuff on his side as well. But for me, as you said, that Basharat tax is on there, and being honest, Farid has been a little bit more impressive than Javid was. Javid, finally ended up getting caught, but I still think there's vulnerabilities there, and I do think Chris Gutierrez, as you said, we're always asking for him to do something, but when he's on, he does look good, man. So it's just, when can you get him on is the problem. But I do think that, if you look at level of competition, Chris Gutierrez has fought a lot higher level competition and fought in the UFC for longer as well. I think that could bode in his favor, with him being a good striker. He's got pretty good takedown defense. I think Fard Basharat's a good striker, but he's going to want to get a fight down to the ground. Yeah, I think if he doesn't, I think Chris Gutierrez can land them leg kicks and do some damage. Give me Chris Gutierrez. Maybe I'm looking at this through the betting lens, but give me Chris Gutierrez by decision here. Now, I'm not betting this, but maybe I'm just betting it because I see how, or maybe I'm just looking at it to see because how big of a dog he is. But yeah, I like Chris Gutierrez to get it done.
Fair enough, dude. That's our second different one of the night. Moving on to the next one. We got the Golden Boy, Edmund Shabazian, taking on Sergi Pano, Andre Muniz. Edmund Shabazian, 15-5-0 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 3 wins and 2 losses. Lost to Anthony Hernandez, win over AJ Dobson, lost to GM3, win over Dylan Budka, and win over Andre Petrovsky via decision 3 months ago, which was wild. He is 27 years old. That's crazy as well. 6'2" and a 75-inch reach. Training somewhere like Extreme Couture now, thankfully. But taking on Andre Muniz, 24-7. Where out of his last 5 fights, he has 3 losses and 2 wins. Lost to Ikram Aliskerov 5 months ago, where he got knocked out by, looks like, the wind off of a left hook. He has a win over Jung Young Park via split decision, which was wild. I don't know what happened there. Lost to Paul Craig, lost to Brendan Allen, and then win over Uriah Hall. He is 35 years old, 6'1", and 78-inch reach. D-Rose, this one is so hard because hold on, let me put it like this. I think Edmund wins this fight. The thing is, he should knock Andre Muniz out in the first round, but if it's anything like his last fight, dude, he went to decision with Andre Petrovsky. What the fuck happened there, man? I'm just confused. So Edmund Shabazian via round 1 knockout or Edmund Shabazian via decision. I'm going to go Edmund Shabazian via round 1 knockout, man. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, this one's another tough one to pick because I could see both guys winning the fight. You look at Andre Muniz, he's got good submissions, got that arm bar that he's always going for. But he's got pretty good wrestling and ground control. We know how explosive Edmund Shabazian is. He's got great boxing. Good kicks as well. We've seen that head kick, that little question mark kick they landed on Brad Tavares and knocked him out cold. We know how good Shabazian is, man. So I think it's a good matchup, good fight to kind of see where both fighters are. And for me, I think I'm letting the betting line play with my head again, but I think I got to lean with Andre Muniz here. I think that he does have a little bit of what Edmund Shabazian, kind of considers his kryptonite is good wrestling and good ground control. Andre Petrovsky, I just don't think Petrovsky really tried to wrestle in that last fight. And I know you had mentioned it even going into last week, picking Cam Rowson against Andre Petrovsky was that Petrovsky really hadn't been trying to wrestle that much. I was surprised because I picked Petrovsky in that fight to win because I thought he would wrestle. So I think Muniz, he knows the objective here, get the fight down to the ground. I like Andre Muniz to get the job done. I'm going to say decision.
All right. Fair enough. Me and D-Rose split there for the 3rd time of the night. I'm on Edmund Shabazian, D-Rose on Andre Muniz. Moving on. We got Atiba Gaudier taking on Tristan Vines, whichever one it is. Atiba Gaudier, 8-1 overall. Who beat this guy? I don't know who beat this animal. Anyway, 23 years old, 6'4", 81-inch reach. Tristan Vines, he took this fight on a few days' notice. He's 10-3, 29 years old, 6 foot. Rest in peace, Tristan Vines. Thanks for taking this fight. Maybe you'll get another UFC fight after this one at probably your actual weight class. Because after you fight Atiba Gaudier, you're probably going to realize that you do not belong at 185. Give me Atiba Gaudier round 1 knockout. I'm not saying anything more on that one. What about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, the guy who beat Atiba Gaudier is Glenn Williams, and he won by split decision. Glenn Williams by split decision. So credit to him to actually getting Gautier out of the first round. That's crazy.
Right. Right.
And I will say kudos to Tristan Vines for willing to take this fight against Gautier on a short notice like that. But Gautier has been an absolute train so far. Just rolling through everybody. Dude's got good power. He's fast. He does kind of remind me of kind of like a new age Francis to a certain extent. He's scary power. Again, man. And yeah, let's see if Tristan is going to wave him on, just like Atiba Gautier's last two opponents have. Because again, they just love eating concussive blows from.
He puts them under a spell, man. He just makes them wave them
more,
on.
please. Yeah, they're like, more, please. Like, yeah, if that's me, like, I would be the first one. I'm crumpling. Why would you ask for more? But yeah, give me Gautier by first round KO.
Same, Artie. Same, man. Good pick. All right. All of us on Gautier round 1 knockout. So moving on, we got Joe Pyfer taking on Abus Magomedov. Joe Pyfer, 14-3 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss. Lost was the Jack Hermanson there, but wins over Kelvin Gastelum, where he beat the shit out of Kelvin. Marc-Andre Barrio knocked him out. Abdul Razak Al Hassan choked him out, and then GM3 smoked him in the first round as well. He is 29 years old, 6'2", and a 75-inch reach, while Abus Magomedov is 28, 6-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. Win over Michel Pereira, where that was some bullshit. Win over Bruno Ferreira. Win over Worley Alves. Lost to Kyle Bahayo and Sean Strickland. He is 35 years old, 6'2", and a 78-inch reach. D-Rose, this are both front-loaded fighters that for sure gas. The only issue is Abus maybe throws more kicks at distance, as where Joe Pyfer walks forward and throws heat with his hands, dude. And if he lands, it's a fucking problem, man. I think Joe Pyfer at worst wins 2 rounds of this fight and wins via decision, but I don't think it gets there, man. I think Joe Pyfer ends up knocking Abus Magomedov out. Let's go early round number 2, man. What's your thoughts on this fight? Or hold on, let me give you odds. Abus Magomedov plus 220, the dog. Joe Pyfer minus 270, the favorite.
I will say I'm surprised that Joe Pyfer is as big of a favorite as he is, because I know you mentioned that, he had, whooped up on Gastelum pretty good. But if you go back to that third round in that fight, that third round was a little bit sketchy. Kelvin won that third round, and Pyfer did not look good in that third round at all. So that was a little bit concerning. I am with you as well. I'm with you as well. This fight's going
to be a no contest due to eye poke. Dave calling it now.
You know what? Pyfer is bad about the reaching for the hands and poking the eyes, and Abus has poked the eyes plenty as well. I think he poked Sean Strickland in the eye. So yeah, I would not be surprised if something like that was happening, Dave. So I'll be looking out for it. I'd like to see there's a bet line on that. No contest. No, just kidding. But
it probably is, man, somewhere.
No, I do think that I'm with you to say both these guys are they're basically first round fighters, to where I think if they don't get the finish in the first round, they're a little bit suspect after the fact. But I think if we just seen who looks better later in the fight, I would give that credit to Joe Pyfer. I think both guys are going to be conscious of them starting slow and starting fast and wanting to maybe try to reverse it and start a little bit slower to reserve themselves as the fight goes. So I do think this fight ends up being a little bit slower than what people are anticipating. But I think Joe Pyfer gets it done. I'm going to go by decision.
All right. Me and D-Rose both on Joe Pyfer. D-Rose on a via decision. I'm on round 2 knockout. Up next, we got Josh CCO Emmett taking on the Moroccan Devil, Yusuf Salah. Josh Emmett is 19-5 overall out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins and 3 losses. lost to Lerone Murphy, win over Bryce Mitchell, lost to Ilia Topuria and Yair Rodriguez, and a win over Calvin Kattar. He is 40 years old, 5'6", and a 70-inch reach, while the Moroccan Devil, Yusuf Salah, 17-5-1 overall, 29 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach. Odds for the fight, minus 470, Yusuf Salah, plus 360, Josh Emmett. So odds are real wide, but it kind of makes sense, though. It's because Josh Emmett, you know what he wants to do. He wants to walk forward and land a big shot on you and put you out. But that's what he does. He kind of walks forward and kind of chases you around, as where Yusuf Salah's footwork is actually excellent. In his last fight, I called him a weenie because in that third round, he just refused to engage with Calvin Kattar at all, dude. But his footwork was so good, Calvin Kattar couldn't track him down. And then on the other hand, look where Josh Emmett has lost to, Yair Rodriguez via triangle, as we're in, Lefa Yusuf Salah's return to the UFC, and even outside the UFC. Look at that arm triangle win, returns to the UFC, chokes out Billy Q, chokes out Jarno Aarons, and then chokes out Jack Shore, man. So it's like Yusuf Salah's return to the UFC. He is on a warpath, man, and I just have a hard time seeing Josh Emmett win this fight, man. I think Yusuf Salah at this point is better everywhere, and I think we get Yusuf Salah via decision this weekend. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think this is it's a well-matched fight for Yusuf Salah, because I do think that it's kind of tailor-made for him. Josh Emmett, he's one of my favorites. I love me some Josh Emmett. The guy carries power in his hands. He's always down the scrap. He's in there to throw down. He's not in there to BS. And even with his wrestling background, the guy just refuses to wrestle. He just wants to go in there and throw hands and hurt people, and that's what makes him fun to watch. But I do think that just in terms of skill set, that footwork of Yusuf Salah, it is a thing of beauty, and he can use it well. And I do think that with the way that Josh Emmett throws his combos with just big hooks at a time, I do think that's something that Yusuf Salah is going to be able to read, pick up on, and be able to counter off of that. So I know he doesn't have the power to hurt Josh Emmett or really put him out of there. But I just think you're going to see just volume. And I think probably a 30-27 for Yusuf Salah. I love Josh Emmett, but I just think it's a tough matchup for him. Give me Yusuf Salah by decision. Believe you're muted.
Yeah, and also Josh Emmett's 40 as well. So moving on to the next one, we got the featured fight of the night, and this is probably my main event of the night, the one that I'm personally most excited for. But it's just because we got Yuri Prochazka, dude, and it's against a fighter that I love. I love when he loses, man. Because when he wins, he just gets on the mic and cries. Shut up, Khalil Roundtree. No one gives a fuck what you're crying about, dude. Shut up. Used to be fat. Cool, man. Get over it. You don't got to cry every time you touch the fucking microphone now. It's just irritating. And I've been waiting on this moment the whole podcast. D Rose knows, but as you guys know, I've been up close this whole time, and that's because I've been harnessing the Yuri Prochazka antenna, channeling the energy the whole time. Yuri Prochazka. The antenna, dude. It's not as erect as it should be right now, but there we go, dude. Yuri Prochazka. Just as long as it don't end up on the side. Let's go, Yuri, dude. I will never pick Khalil Roundtree to beat the one and only Yuri Prochazka, but let's talk about this fight for just a second, man. Yuri Prochazka is 31-5-1 overall out of his last 5 fights, alternating wins and losses. 3 wins, 2 losses. Both are to Alex, though. He's beaten everyone else. He is 32 years old, 6'3", and an 80-inch reach, while Khalil Roundtree is 14-6 overall out of his last 5 fights, only lost to Alex as well. He is 35 years old, 6'1", and a 76-inch reach. Odds for the fight are minus 192 Yuri Prochazka. Khalil Roundtree is plus 160 D Rose. every single Yuri Prochazka fight, I pick one method of victory, and that shit happens most of the time, and that is Yuri Prochazka KO round number 2, and I will be betting Yuri Prochazka KO 2-3 because Yuri cooks people. If they get out of that first round, what he's going to do is cook them to the bone, and they don't get out of that second. Yuri Prochazka has so many round 2 knockouts, and it happens again this weekend. Yuri Prochazka round 2 knockout over Khalil Roundtree. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I think this is a fun fight, and for me, I think it's the most anticipated fight on the card for me, in my personal opinion. I think it's it's going to be a chance that either the fight itself will deliver, or I think that there's a chance that the finish could deliver. Because I think it's going to be a very hard chance that this is going to go to a decision, just with the way, especially with the way Yuri fights. You can stay with the way Khalil fights, but he kind of played with this. Oh, excuse me. He kind of played with his food in that Jamal Hill fight. But I think he wanted to make sure he can go the 5 rounds. So I understand him wanting to get that experience. But I do think that I think for the way Yuri fights, he leaves himself out there. So I'm getting the hiccups like mid sentence here. So I'm trying to find.
Right, because you're full of shit. Because I already feel what's coming.
Yeah. Yuri gets hit a lot, man. And Khalil carries power. Khalil's good with the body kicks. So I think, Yuri kind of, jumping in and everything. I think he's going to get hit with some body shots, try to step in, and Khalil hits him with a big shot. I think instead of knocking him down and kind of playing with his food a little bit like he did with Jamal, I think Khalil goes for the finish, goes for some ferocious ground and pound. I'm going to go round 2 KO for Khalil Roundtree. But I think it's some fun fight for as long as it lasts.
Dude, Yuri's head movement has been awesome in his last fight, dude. I cannot fucking wait. Come in here and prove all the haters wrong. Do you think Prochazka versus Teixeira is going to be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know, man. I don't know. We did have a question here. D-Rose, what's the biggest parlay you've ever won? I'm guessing on MMA.
Oh, wow.
I know the other weekend, you hit a solid one, right?
Yeah, now the other week I had a pretty solid one but that was for football.
Okay.
I guess I'm trying to think of MMA. I weirdly had one with a bunch of Bellator fighters. I think I had 2 or 3 UFC fighters. There was Bellator on the day before and then UFC the next day. And I remember I put it was when Fabian Edwards fought I think it was Gegard Mousasi. I remember he was in there. He was a plus 280 against Gegard Mousasi, and that was the anchor of my parlay. I think I bet 10 to win 280 on that or something. Yeah, I hit pretty decent on that. It was 3 or 4 other different fighters. I can't remember exactly all who it was, but I remember Fabian Edwards being on that, being my main anchor on that, and him getting the job done with these.
Gotcha. And I know me, I won a 9 or 12. I think it was a 12 leg. It was $10 for $3,000. So it was pretty solid. I actually went to Noche in the Sphere with the winnings from that. So I can't complain too much. Let's see. Yeah, any parlay. What's the most amount you guys have lost on a sports bet? I think anytime I bet more than $50, I fucking lose it. So I think the most I ever lost was probably 300 probably, because I bet 300 on UFC 300 and I lost it. Yeah, D-Rose.
Oh yeah, that was rough. I think the most I ever bet and lost, I think it was that same bet slip I think I sent you a couple years ago with it was Kansas City, Dallas, and Tampa Bay, and Dallas and Tampa Bay played earlier in the day, and they had won pretty easy, and Kansas City had played Green Bay in that night game, and I thought there was a couple moments where there should have been penalties for Kansas City, and there wasn't. But we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, man. So let's move on to the co-main event of the evening. We got Merab, the Machine Tavalishvili, taking on Corey, the Sandman Sandhagen. Merab 20-4 overall, undefeated out of his last 5. Win over Sean O'Malley, win over Umar, win over O'Malley again, win over Henry Cejudo, and win over Piotr Jan. He is 34 years old, 5'6", and a 68-inch reach, while Corey Sandhagen is 18-5 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss. His loss was to Umar, but that was a good fight, man. Lots of scrambles and all that. Since then, he came back and defeated Davidson via knee injury. 33 years old, 5'11", and a 70-inch reach. D-Rose, I guess before this week, I was like, yeah, Merab is winning this fight. What are we going to do? It just is what it is. Odds for the fight are currently, let's see. Merab is a minus 375 favorite. Corey Sandhagen's plus 295, the dog. Corey Sandhagen, yeah, I think after I watched the countdown, man, like something tells me that Corey Sandhagen's gonna win this fight. I don't know what it is, dude, but something tells me that he's able to maybe stuff the takedowns and just get controlled against the fence. And if he just gets controlled against the fence but ends up landing more damage in those rounds, then therefore he should take those rounds. Something tells me that Corey ends up taking the belt off Merab this weekend, man. I think Merab, like what people said about Alex, you know, he's famous now. He's everywhere on all the media. I see him fucking more with Nina than I do anyone else, dude. It's absolutely nuts, dude. So maybe his focus has dropped a little bit, and I think Corey Sandhagen, the one that's on, you know, acid and fucking mushrooms, completely focused on winning this championship. Give me Corey Sandhagen to win this fight via decision as the dog, man. What's your thoughts here?
Coming in on all the shrooms and acid to
right,
get the
dude.
job done.
All the psychedelics, brother.
He's seeing the future, and he's seeing it into existence. But I still just think at the end of the day, it's just a tough matchup for Corey Sandhagen. You know,
but I think the Umar fight helped me out a lot because it showed that he can scramble well and break the hands to get out of these waistlock takedowns that the style, you know, implements. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think Merab really does a lot of that too, just because their control sequences are a lot different. Like Umar's actually looking for the control versus where Merab's looking to get you down, really just to make you work on trying to get back up, because he's really just trying to wear on you and exhaust you. And I do think that Sandhagen has been, worn down in the past. I know that Peter Yan fight. I know obviously he took that fight on short notice, but you can even go back to that TJ Dillashaw fight. You know, going later on into that fight, you know, the fight was getting brought to him a little bit, and he started just kind of getting a little bit slower as the fight goes. And you know, just with Merab, that's just where Merab gets stronger, you know, as the fight goes. And I just think it's set up for him to. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be an easy win, but I say it's probably gonna be. I think Sandhagen's going to get a round because I do think that Merab is going to be maybe as the fight goes, maybe third, fourth round. Merab gets a little bit of a win in one of those rounds, and I think Sandhagen can steal it. But other than that, I think Merab gets, I'm going to say a 49-46 decision here. Give me Merab here.
All right. Not too surprising. So D-Rose on Merab. I'm on Corey. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, all week I was like, yeah, Merab's going to win this fight. And then after I watched the countdown, man, I was like, something tells me Corey's going to win this motherfucker. I don't know what it is, but we'll see. Corey flying KO. Third round, says Dave. I want Sandhagen versus Sugar. It'd be a fun fight. Also have a signed card of Sandy. Yeah, Merab's is hilarious. Like, especially he's like the early cards. He just writes Merab like a kindergartner. Quite funny. Anyway, main event of the evening. D-Rose, hit that thumbs up button for your boys if y'all haven't already. Don't forget about us. We're here breaking down these fights for you. It's free for you to hit that thumbs up button. We got Ankalaev versus Poatan Alex Pereira. Number 2, D Rose. And fuck, man. Odds for the fight minus 285 Ankalaev. Pereira is plus 230. If we pick different here, can we agree that you won't put this in the pick, champ?
I cannot make
Fuck, dude. Like I want to pick Alex, but fuck, man. Like if I know if I do, you're gonna end up putting in the pick, champ. Ankalaev 21 1-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, no contest, and a draw. He is 33 years old, 6'3" and 75-inch reach. While Alex Pereira is 12-3 overall. Only lost out of his last 5 was to Ankalaev 6 months ago. He is 38 years old, 6'4" and an 80-inch reach. I really want Alex to win this fight, but I just feel like the same thing's going to happen as what happened in the last fight. Ankalaev just kind of putting the pressure on him, putting Alex on his back foot, and just not really giving him a whole lot of time to really do anything. But watching the last fight, it was still what, like 2-3? Like Ankalaev won 1 more round, dude. I want nothing more than Ankalaev to not be the champion, dude. I just want him to never fight in the UFC again, dude. Just incredibly boring.
Trade him to the PFL.
Right, dude? Get the fuck out of here. No one wants this dude here. This Abraham Lincoln looking motherfucker. Get out. Get out. Anyway, yeah, fuck it, dude. I'm going Alex. Alex via decision. Because I think it's going to be a close one, just like the last one, dude. I don't think there's a knockout. Yeah, man, let's go Alex via decision and hope the crowd can sway the judges in Vegas, dude. Give me Alex and New. We get 2 and News on Saturday night. At least I hope so. Man. We'll see what happens.
I was going for the night of upsets. I see.
Night of upsets, dude.
Gosh, yeah. So the reason why the first fight for me on this one was so annoying was because it just looked like Alex.
Oh, I'll tell you why I was annoying, because it had Ankalaev in it.
Yeah. Well, it was frustrating for me on Alex's part. I'm always annoyed watching Ankalaev fight. I am with you there, but I just think watching Alex fight, it was irritating because it was like he just would not go. We're sitting there almost just waiting on him. Like, are you going to do something? Like today, Junior. Like, are you going to get going? And yeah, he's just kind of taking forever. But man, I just think that the way that Ankalaev made him freeze, it's a style. It's not anything that Alex did or anything like that. I just think it's the style. And Ankalaev hurt Pereira in that last fight. And I'm not going to say that Ankalaev is going to get the finish this time around, but Izzy hurt Alex in the first fight, and then he finished him in the second. Not to say that this is going to happen the same exact way, but Ankalaev's getting a little bit more of his timing down now. He knows kind of how he likes to fight, and man, he can go in there and press the gas and get it done. So, yeah, I'm going to go Ankalaev here by decision. I'm with you. I'm cheering for Alex, but I feel like that first fight is going to tell us a lot about what's probably going to happen in the second fight.
Probably, man. I just really want Alex to win. Probably not going to be betting on this fight. If so, I might take the over. But as far as, hitting, trying to pick a winner here, I'm going to be rooting for Alex. But, man, I just don't want Ankalaev to win this fight. But if we're going to be honest, that's probably what happens, man. So, with that being said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 different picks this week, D-Rose. We got Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford. We got Basharat versus Gutierrez. We got Shabazian versus Muniz, Yuri versus Khalil, Corey versus Marab, and Alex versus Ankalaev. And it's a pay-per-view, so I know you're rubbing your hands together. You're like, oh, I only got to get 2 out of these 3. I'm about to pick the main and co-main. It's going to be easy dub. Not that easy, pal. It's a pay-per-view. You got to get 3 out of 5 this week, dude. So, yeah,
Yep.
which fight are you throwing out of the 6 that we picked, man?
Okay, so I'm going back on the list real quick just to make sure. So
We got Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford,
wanna
Farid
keep that one.
Basharat versus Gutierrez, Shabazian versus Muniz, Yuri versus Khalil, Corey versus Marab, and Alex versus Ankh.
okay, so let's throw off Basharat and Gutierrez.
All right, and that'll be the
Yeah, throw
backup.
that one off. Yeah, that'll
That'll
be
be
the
the
backup.
backup
But
if anything
yeah,
happens.
throw Gutierrez and Basharat off, and we'll ride with the rest.
All right, and be tied going into the main event. Yeah, like always. That's how it always is, dude.
I like to get a clean sweep.
Hey man, don't say that. That's not cool, dude. Like, you want me to be eating 3 beans, man? I would never wish
I
that
think
on you.
if I go 5-0, it should be 5 beans. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that should be the rule.
Oh, so just new rules now? What about all the times I clean sweep to you on fucking 5-0?
Hey, you didn't go 5-0 on a pay-per-view.
I'm sure I've clean swept you on a few pay-per-views, D-Rose.
Man, that don't even sound right.
Nah, I promise you it does. Anyway, I'm gonna put a fat bet on 2 PSAs. Good luck, man. Good luck. Have you looked at PFL? No, trying to look at PFL is something that I do not do. I do not do. Antoine, change of cheddar. I think I'll do change cheddar Friday. At least I believe so. D-Rose definitely eating beans again. Dave's been right, man.
That's crazy.
Dave's been right, man. And then PFL main event slaps too. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
That's the Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes fight. I'll probably try to check that fight out in particular, but probably not the whole card.
That's fair. So that's it for the pick champ. We only have one more thing left to go over, and figured why not just go ahead and do it like this, you know?
It was over, but it's
Nope.
time for D Rose's Dog of the Week.
Oh goodness, it's time for D Rose's Dog of the Week. Who's it going to be, man? So from the dogs that I believe that you picked, let's see, starting back at the front. Let's see, Vanderford's a favorite, Poon is a favorite. I mean, Will Apache
You got
Mix is a
Khalil,
favorite.
You got Andre Muniz.
You
got
got
Chris Gutierrez.
you got Chris Gutierrez.
Andre Muniz, Khalil.
Yeah, Andre
Those
Muniz
are the
and
3. I'm gonna go.
damn,
Did
dude,
we
you're about to
say-
go fucking 0-2 already on fucking dogs of the week.
Hey, did we say this would be a dog fight as well?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be an underdog, but it has to be a dog fight at very least, and they have to win. But it should be a closely lined fight.
Give me Khalil. Just give me Khalil.
Khalil. All right.
I ain't gonna sweat it. Give me Khalil.
All right. D-Rose the dog of the week. About to be 0-2 off the jump. About to be over for you to get started. It's gonna be done faster than the ladder.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's going to end quicker, the ladder or the dog of the week? Nah, we ain't going down this week, baby. Let's go.
D-Rose,
Riding the dog to top, baby.
Life with your boys outside of
How about
Matt.
the
How's the
dog?
house going, Matt? Antoine, I have 14 days left in this house, and I am out of here, brother. D-Rose, dog of the week. That's what I'm saying, Dave. Oh, dude, D-Rose dog of the week.
Hey, man, damn.
D-Rose self-sabotaging dog of the week.
Like, what am I supposed to do? I gotta.
He's like, I don't want to do this shit.
Nah, I'm putting a tough spot because I got to pick an underdog to win. They're the underdog for the reason, but hey, I'm built to handle that task.
All right, y'all. So, with that being said, that's going to be all for us here today on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. We appreciate you for stopping by here, hanging out with us over here tonight. Oh, I think that's what Antoine was asking you, Rose. Are you going to be available for Change of Shadow Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So right now the plan, do Change of Shadow Friday, get up early Saturday morning and start driving over D Rose's way. Do you get off at 5 or do you get off at 8 on Saturday, man?
Man, so I'm supposed to get off early. I told somebody I'd switch with them, but because they were supposed to get to the tech game, but I might try to figure something out here.
I got you.
Might try to see if I can slide out by like 7 o'clock.
I got you. So with that being said, you can expect me and D Rose to be live for the main card this weekend over at D Rose's place in his basement. Me and him will be doing a live UFC fighting opinion for UFC 320. So you guys feel free to stop by, check us out for that. But Friday, me and D Rose will be here for Change of Cheddar, giving you our last minute picks and predictions and all of our bets that we have on this card for UFC 320. The last pay-per-view that I'm going to be betting on in Virginia because I'm moving out of here. So with that being said, appreciate you guys for stopping by here. Hit that thumbs up button on y'all's way out, and me and D Rose will see you guys Friday. Until then, remember, it's a fist fight. At the end of the day, anything can happen, and we'll see you guys Friday. Peace. Dave.